And then it's a...
What's happening right now?
We're warming up our voices. La 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 la.
There we go, I'm warmed up.
No, you guys, let's do this.
I'm already getting sweaty.
Hi, I'm Kristie Secrist. Today we are going to be working with my beautiful daughter Brooke, and we are going to be making you some kombucha. So Brooke, let's start out with this if you don't mind. Mm-hmm. How did this even come about?
I wanted to have a way that me and Calvin, my son, could get probiotics without having to take pills, because him at the time being under 1 year old, I didn't think that he would ever take a probiotic. In addition, I was drinking it all the time anyway, and it was getting very expensive because if you've seen it in the stores, it's almost $4 a bottle in some places or more, depending on where you live. I went online and I started researching how to make kombucha, and a year and a half later, I've worked out all the kinks for myself and I've pretty much got it all figured out.
So just a little bit of history on kombucha. Do you know how long kombucha has been around?
It's been around for thousands of years. The Chinese have been doing it for a long time. Many other cultures do it, and they just have different names for it. Where it actually started, they don't know. There's kind of like a legend behind it that a gnat or a fruit fly fell into some tea, and that created the first SCOBY, but no one knows for sure.
So what does a SCOBY look like, first of all?
Well,
because there are people that even know what a SCOBY looks like.
It looks a little weird. Some people say it looks like an alien, which maybe it is. I don't know. Some people call it a tea mushroom. There's a whole bunch of different names for it.
So it's not just some fad. I mean, a lot of people think that this is a new up-and-coming thing, and it's just one of those diets that are going to kind of come and go. But you just heard it. It's been around for a very long time. I personally really love it for its health benefits. So Brooke, what are some of the benefits that you actually get from drinking kombucha?
So there's actually a lot of different health benefits. One of them is it's actually very good for your digestion. It helps your body to absorb nutrients better. It's also full of probiotics, which are that good bacteria that you want in your gut that, again, will help you absorb nutrients better and also just keeps your body healthy. Another thing that it's great for is it detoxes your body. So if you've been eating a lot of junk food and stuff and you start drinking kombucha, it'll help clean you out. It'll help kind of flush your systems and get your body back on the right track.
So Brooke, what are the ingredients that go into making our first batch of kombucha?
Okay, so you're only going to need a couple of things. You're going to need a SCOBY. You're going to need some starter liquid. You're going to need 4 to 6 tablespoons of loose leaf organic black tea and about a cup of cane sugar. So when it comes to the SCOBY and your starter tea, your best bet is to actually get those from somebody who's already making kombucha rather than trying to make it from something you buy at the store.
So what if they don't know anybody that actually has a SCOBY? So then how do they find it?
There are actually groups on Facebook you can find that for free, other than the cost of shipping, you can find people who have extra SCOBYs and starter liquid that will mail it to you.
Where do we start? Like, what's the first thing we do to make kombucha? Because
Okay.
I have no idea.
We're gonna start by taking a gallon of distilled water and boiling it. And after you bring it to a boil, you're gonna take it off the heat and add your tea.
Okay.
Leave the tea steeping for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then strain the tea out using some sort of tea strainer, or if you have tea bags that are like reloadable, you could use those.
Something like this?
Yes,
This will work?
But you want to strain the tea out after, and while the water is still hot, you would then add your cup of sugar,
Okay.
preferably non-GMO cane sugar, and then you would stir it until it's fully dissolved and then let it go to room temp.
So Brooke, why do we use distilled water?
So the reason you want to use distilled water is because it is totally pure and totally clean. You don't want to use tap water because a lot of tap water has chlorine and other trace minerals and chemicals that could actually mess with the fermentation process, because it can either kill the bacteria and yeast or it can make it hard for them to grow. So by using distilled water, you're basically guaranteed to have clean, fresh water that was the ideal environment for your kombucha brew. So after your batch has gone to room temperature, you're then going to take a 1 gallon or larger glass container and pour your freshly brewed batch along with the starter tea and your SCOBY into a container. Cover it with a cotton cloth and a rubber band to make a tight seal and let it sit. A couple brewing tips to help make your ferment successful. First is you want to make sure that it stays out of the sunlight, because if it's in direct sunlight, it can actually kill the bacteria and yeast, and that's the most important part of the brew. The next is the ideal fermentation temperature range is between 72 and 84 degrees Fahrenheit.
How long has this actually been brewing in this particular jar?
So it's been exactly 2 weeks that this has been in here. When you first make it, it's going to look like black tea, because that's what you're making is black tea. over time, you'll see it has turned to a beautiful amber color.
And this is what you want it to do.
Yes.
Okay.
This is actually a really good indication that it's fermenting, that it's eating the flavonoids and the other naturally occurring substances in the tea. That's what feeds it. And then the sugar helps keep it going as well. So you can actually see a couple little bubbles up here at the top. That's some carbonation. That is also a good sign. Yeast, as a byproduct, gives off carbon dioxide, which gives you the carbonation, so it gives you that fizziness that's in.
Right, okay. Now, is this normal for it to look like it has like little legs or little arms, hairs,
Yes,
whatever
okay,
that is?
so I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but the little legs are actually yeast strands.
You can see one really
Yep.
good right here.
That is very normal and totally fine. So scobies a little bit will come in different shapes and sizes and look a little different. Depends on your batch and what you put in it, and also just the health of your SCOBY. There's a lot of information online, or I could do a separate video in the future of how to know if your SCOBY is in good health, but for now we're just gonna keep it to the basics.
Okay.
For the second fermentation, you're gonna need some snap top bottles like these.
Why snap top? Why can't I just use something that like screws on, screws off?
You can, but you run the risk of your bottles breaking. That can still happen with these, but because they're snap top bottles and they're made specifically for kombucha or for making beer, they're pressure treated so they can handle more carbon dioxide pressure.
Okay.
Also, why you want it to have an airtight seal like this is because, again, it'll help keep it fizzy so it doesn't go flat. To make gingerberry, I got the recipe online. I'll put the link below. You're gonna need 1 cup of frozen blueberries, a 1/4 cup of fresh grated ginger, and then 1 cup of not from concentrate blueberry juice.
Right over here. Okay.
Right here.
Okay, and then what do we do with this?
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna take the kombucha and we're gonna measure out 2 cups and the SCOBY and put those into a bowl off to the side.
This looks like, I don't even know what to call it, but I just want to poke it because
It's like a little jellyfish.
yeah, kinda.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take 2 cups out. See how I have that airtight seal?
Yeah.
You can hear it pop. It's a little less than a cup, so I'll get to that in a second.
Close enough, right? And then we cover this back up.
No, we're actually gonna pour the rest of that into the other pot because we're gonna flavor it.
Oh, just dump the whole thing in?
Yep.
Okay.
Just go slow. You don't want to go too fast because it can like kind of shake up everything. Yeah, look at that color.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm afraid to dump too far because it might fall out.
That's okay.
Whoa.
You can just dig it out with your hands.
You want all of it out?
Yeah, because I already measured out the 2 cups. You can just pour the whole thing out.
Well, here it comes. Oh. Okay. Now what do we do now that this beautiful little thing is in here?
Now you're gonna have to get a little dirty and fish the SCOBY out and put it into this container.
I'm glad I washed my hands. I put it in there.
Yep, with the starter liquid. So I'm just gonna go put this behind me.
Oh boy. You just pick it up?
Yep, that's what I do.
Oh, it feels weird.
Yeah, it's a little weird when you're not used to it, but you can kind of feel it's got some weight to it and everything. That is alive. Bacteria and yeast right there. And so we're gonna take 1 cup of frozen blueberries, and you can go ahead and just dump that in the pot.
Okay.
Yeah, get them all in there.
Even the juice?
That's fine.
Okay.
Then you are gonna use a 1/4 cup of freshly grated ginger, and please make sure you peel the skin off first.
It's all peeled off.
Just dump it in there. You can use the wooden spoon if you need to kind of scrape it out.
Yeah, it's kind of stuck. Now, does it matter that this is like really, really fresh ginger, so it doesn't matter that you get some of the juice?
Nope, it's totally fine. It'll just help enhance the flavor. And then we just need to pour 1 cup of the blueberry juice. That is 100% not from concentrate blueberry juice. It's gonna be more on the expensive side. I think that was almost $7 for the bottle, but that'll last for 3 or 4 batches.
Yeah, but you know what I was gonna say? Look how much we're actually making with it. Way, way, way more cost effective than
Just be careful, it will stain
purchasing
your
it
hands.
at the store.
And then you're just gonna kind of stir it and make sure it's mixed well, and then we're gonna leave it off to the side for a couple of hours.
It's like we're making a brew. Literally making a brew. I noticed there's like little stringies from the kombucha SCOBY.
Yes.
Does it matter?
Nope, that's
So it's
totally
okay?
fine. That is totally fine.
We officially have floaties in our kombucha.
It's yeast strands.
All right, so Brooke, we have everything marinating here in our brew pot. Now, what do we do?
Okay, so now that we've let it sit for a couple of hours and it started to kind of eat away at the fruit and everything, now we are going to pour it into a separate container and we're going to strain out all the
floaties.
All the floaties, yes.
Okay.
So you just want to go kind of slow so it doesn't have any splashback.
Yeah, you want me to do this?
It's cool. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take these snap top bottles and the funnel. You're literally just going to fill it. With these, you can fill it to about right there. You want to leave less, like just a little bit of space at the top. You don't want to fill it all the way to the top with no gap at all, because then if you go to open it later, it's just going to, I've had it before where it shot out so bad it hit the ceiling. So you don't really want that. It makes a huge mess. Not great. So yeah, you're going to
dump this now in there?
and you're going to go really slow. And I always put my funnel at an angle so as it goes in there, it doesn't get really foamy, because otherwise you got to wait for the foam to go down so it gets to the proper level.
Did the funnel actually come with the jars when you bought them?
Yep, it came with the snap top bottles and same with a bottle cleaner brush.
Oh my
Oops.
goodness.
It gets a little messy sometimes. I usually keep paper towels
Don't
next
try
to
this
me.
at home, children. Oh.
Adult supervision required.
Yes.
Okay, oh, slow down, slow down. Okay.
Is that good?
You want to try and get it to about right there. So just go really slow. Perfect. Okay, now there's just a little bit of bubbles, which is okay.
This is a little tricky.
And then usually to avoid further mess, because this usually drips a little bit, I just move it to the next bottle.
I totally want to lick up the counter,
You could.
but I will maintain my composure.
And then you just snap it shut. And then I take a marker, one of the washable markers that came with the bottles, and I just write what it is. So I would write gingerberry in the day I made it.
Okay.
It can be good in your fridge for anywhere from 1 to 3 months, especially if you
wow.
keep it in the back. Really just smell and taste test. If it's starting to smell really funky or it tastes kind of weird when you have a sip, you should probably just get rid of it. Okay, so once you have it in your snap top bottles, you now have to let it ferment again for a few more days. I like to let mine ferment for about another 5 days.
Why? What will it do?
It just gives it like a bolder, richer flavor. And
Okay.
you can like really taste the ginger and the blueberry.
Oh, okay.
It makes it taste closer to the gingerberry that you would find at the store.
So with the magic of TV, we have it. Here is our fabulous batch of kombucha. That's really good.
It's good, right?
Oh my gosh, we could have a lot of fun with this.
Yeah, the really great thing about kombucha is you can get extremely creative with how you want to flavor it. Kombucha knows no limits.
That's right. Kind of like my catchphrase, which is simply live inspired, love big, and be fearless.
And
Have some fun.
get boochin'.
Get boochin'.
Get boochin'.
Oh, I like that.